Ladies and gentlemen, this is For the Poll, the movie draft show podcast here on Confidential Movie Talk. I've decided that we are actually going to start taking it up a notch. So I made a little graphic that I will be updating us as time goes on. So there is the poll. And obviously, as the rounds go on, I will update everyone's picks. So with that said, the first overall pick is going to be Steve Mesa. Steve, overall, comedy performances. What are your thoughts on comedy as a genre, and what are your thoughts on the list that you've put together?
So I put a list of comedy performances together that are not usually considered. At least some of the picks that I pick are considered comedy, and I also pick some of the ones that are comedy performances, but not a lot of people think first about these performances before others. So I'm trying to stay away from in the Jim Carrey, Ben Stiller, all the comedic stars type of performances that those people are usually known for, and I'm trying to make myself a nice eclectic list for the poll to see how everybody reacts to it.
I like that a lot. And the second overall pick is going to be Tato. Tato, what is your thoughts on the comedy performances concept? And just for everyone behind the scenes, Tato is dealing with some internet issues, so we might be lagging, so we might not be as talkative, but we know that going in that, so it's not that big a deal. But how do you feel, Tato?
I'm feeling pretty good. I love comedy movies, love to laugh. It's kind of my main thing. What leads me into Kevin Smith being my favorite director and all that. So
there you go. And third overall is going to be Jay Burns. Jay, you chose 3. You had the option to go 2, 4, or 2 or 5, technically. So, or 2 or 4. So what were your thoughts on the possibility of you being in the middle, but what's your confidence level?
So the last time that I went number 3 overall, I had a pretty decent run with what I had. Nobody got a chance to take a lot of what I wanted. Not going first and not going last. I think going third or in the middle of a draft is by far the smartest choice that you can make. But I don't think that there's going to be a lot of people out there who have the same things that I have on my board. Tato might be the closest to them, and I think that he might only have 1 or 2, but I don't think you or Mesa honestly have anything else that I would have on my list. So I can't wait to see.
There you go. And then the 4th overall pick is going to be me. I'm excited for this. I came up with this idea because, like Tato said, I love watching the comedies, but sometimes the performances don't necessarily get as much love because, they're just comedies, blah, blah, blah. That's not acting, but that's what we're going to talk about today. And then last but not least, he is here last minute, JPO, Jordan Pierce Owens. JPO, what's your thoughts on this concept? I know this is a big one for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I think kind of Tato said it best, man. I love a good comedy performance here, good comedy movie here. So I might do a couple generic, couple outside the box choices here because some should be sung for a reason, and then also I will also try to pick someone that are undersung in my opinion.
There we go. So with that said, we are going to start the draft. On the clock, Steve Mesa, the first overall pick.
The first overall pick is from a little-known movie called The Wolf of Wall Street, and I'm picking Mr. Leonardo DiCaprio. If people say this is not a comedic performance, I don't know what to say to them. You see him dancing, doing the robot. He's flip-flopping on the floor, trying to climb some goddamn stairs, and just being a goddamn mess in the process. And he should have fucking won that Oscar instead of for The Revenant. So for my number 1 choice, I had to go with DiCaprio.
I definitely knew that was coming. That's definitely on my list. No shame in that one. All right.
Challenge.
No challenge there. That is
challenge. It's a biography movie. You literally said that the fucking rule was it had to be labeled as a fucking comedy first.
That was literally the movie I was talking about earlier, whereas biography is not a real genre. So
bullshit, dude. Biopics isn't a real genre? Go fuck yourself.
Anyway, that was literally the one I was talking about. So I didn't know.
Cool. You're just making up rules as we go. All right, bet.
That was literally the one I was talking about. Comedy is its genre.
Whatever, bro.
Biopics you did, Steve.
By the way, you're never gonna pick it, so who cares?
I was never gonna pick it because it's not a fucking answer.
Tato,
by the rules laid down.
Tato, you are on the clock.
Alrighty, I'm gonna take a look at
Bag.
this large list I've accumulated. All right, Leo here. And I'm gonna take.
Don't worry, I don't think it's lagging.
Give me
Lagging. It just takes him that long to formulate a
Yeah,
thought.
that's just his brain.
Harley and Tommy Boy.
Okay,
Chris Farley and Tommy Boy was on my list.
It's one that I wasn't on my list, but I did know that it was a notable one, but arguably going to be Tato's first pick anyway, so not anything surprising there for me.
I'm a little upset. I wanted that one.
Jay, you are on the clock.
Okay. I'm gonna make this simple. We all know that these are simple people. These are farmers, hardworking people of the land, otherwise known as idiots. We are going Gene Wilder in Blazing Saddles.
Nice.
Okay. Didn't see that one coming. Okay, give us a little bit of why you think that one's a great pick for you.
Look, honestly, I know that there's a lot of problematic shit with Blazing Saddles, but I don't think that there's really like a spoof or a comedy movie that Mel Brooks has done that isn't a wee bit problematic. But Gene Wilder just hits all of the bases that I need somebody to hit. He can play the serious role when he needs to play it, but every time that he makes a joke in this movie and he undercuts those serious moments, it isn't undercutting it for the lack of him being a serious actor. But this is my shooting hand. Like everything it is that he does in this movie is comedic gold.
It's my shooting hand.
Exactly. No, this movie's just comedy gold. Like this movie can't be remade today, and I know they've tried to remake it a couple of times, and they're never going to capture everything it is that they need to capture in this movie. It's a movie of its time, by all means. But I still think that that Gene Wilder gives one of his best comedic performances in this movie, hands down.
I love it. All right, we are going over to me and
yours, Henry.
Yeah, exactly. Whoa, that's arguably one of my favorite lines. Let's not go there. Anyway, so I don't necessarily think I would be afraid of JPO taking this, but it would just not make any sense for this not to be my first overall pick. I'm going Jeff Bridges for The Big Lebowski. My favorite movie of all time. One of the best performances of all time, regardless of genre. When you think of not only movie characters, but from the comedy genre, but you just think of movie characters in all of film, the dude just represents just characters and just he's a construct, and that's because of what Jeff Bridges embodies. And it's one of those things that with the Coen brothers writing, you could be like, oh, it was just a great written character, but the inflections and the way that he's able to just use facial structures to really show you just the way he's not paying attention, the laziness of it, the comedy. One of my favorite scenes in it is when he's talking to the actual Big Lebowski and he's giving him the ransom note, and before that he's just going on his little monologue and he's like, is it cool if I light up a J? Like, it's just little things like that. Just the way he's able to, pitch those lines. I don't think anyone else could do it. So yeah, Jeff Bridges easily for me is going to be my first overall pick for The Big Lebowski. All right, JPO, tell us which one from the post or from the thumbnail is going to be your first overall pick.
A couple of those I really do love, and I did definitely think about Lebowski, partially because it's a good pick, and partially just to screw you. But you got to first. So, no, the first thing I'm going to go for is a comedic powerhouse, and what I think is his funniest performance. I'm going to go Eddie Murphy, Trading Places.
Okay, that's a good pick.
I just think he's hilarious, and in here, man, there's still another one of those guys, kind of like Chris Farley. There's still Funko Pops of him being made all these years later. I think it still holds up really well. Continue, or are we gonna stop and talk, Henry, or what are we doing?
Yeah, we can go ahead and well, if you have anything left that you want to say on that one.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Then I'll start with you, JPO. What is your thoughts on everyone's picks up to that point?
Bridges is good. Actually, I haven't seen Blazing Saddles, so that's a big
Whoa.
blind spot for me. Calm down, Steve. Calm down. Farley's definitely one I would have gone to in round 2 or 3, if not even round 1. I love Farley and Tommy Boy here. That was definitely on my mind. And DiCaprio's a really good pick here. It's a good pick for like absolutely hilarious and what is people don't necessarily when they go to comedic performances. So it's a great pick.
There you go. And then for me, so yeah, no, wrong one. Like I said, obviously Leonardo DiCaprio is my favorite actor of all time. I'm not the highest on The Wolf of Wall Street in terms of just like it being in my favorite movie of all time, just because that length does get to me. But without a doubt, I could go in. I'm going to pull the old John Roca. I can go in and watch 10 minutes or the last 30 minutes if it's on cable, blah, blah, blah. And it's the greatest time ever just because of, Leo's performance. Chris Farley and Tommy Boy. Me and Tato actually just did a watch along of this recently together, and I had a blast with this. I watched it for the first time about 5 years ago, and I did enjoy it, but it's just one of those that didn't stick with me. But on the rewatch, I did have a lot of fun with it, and when I watch reactions on YouTube, I have a blast, laughing at it. And then Gene Wilder and Blazing Saddles. Blazing Saddles is a movie that's growing on me. It's never going to be a favorite by any stretch of imagination. I'm just not a Mel Brooks guy, but Blazing Saddles has grown on me because of Gene Wilder and just what he's able to do in this movie. So shout out to him. And then what did you do? You and Eddie Murphy Trade. I actually just watched that for the first time this past Christmas, and it's a movie that I do enjoy, and I do respect people's love for it. As time has gone by, and the legacy it's had. But it's not a favorite of mine, so it definitely was not on my big board. Jay, what are your thoughts on how round 1 went?
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Chris Farley was my number 1 pick in this. So like I said before we even started, I was I'm pretty sure the only person here who's comedy lines up the same way as mine does is probably Tato, and Tato proved it by stealing my number 1. Jeff Bridges in The Big Lebowski is great. I don't think that he's the person that I would have gone with in The Big Lebowski. Tell you the truth, I think I would have gone with John Goodman, Walter in that movie, just because he provides more comedy throughout it. We all know that I just tried to challenge.
You can still do that, Jay. You can still do that.
I know I can, but I'm not gonna, because that's just dumb at this point in time. I tried to challenge for Mesa there, and yeah, I don't know. JPO made a decent choice with Eddie Murphy. I think it's a little early for the Eddie Murphy in Trading Places, but that's just me personally. Also, I think this is my own choice personally. I think it's by far Gene Wilder's best movie outside of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So yeah.
There you go. Tato, depending on your internet, what is your overall thoughts on how round 1 went?
Pretty good. I haven't seen Wolf of Wall Street, and I've also missed Blazing Saddles.
Watch along.
And then I didn't even bother writing the dude because I knew you would pick him way before I ever would. And then Trading Places is another one that was high up there for me.
There you
Probably
go.
would have come around in round 3, 4-ish.
All right, and back over to Mesa. Mesa, what are your thoughts on, you went Leo first overall at the 101. Is that something that, as time has gone by and with the conversation, some of you regret thinking that maybe you could have got him in round 2, or are you happy with your pick? And what are your thoughts on the ones that went after you? Were they on your big board?
I am happy with my pick. I am satisfied with picking Leonardo DiCaprio because eventually I'm pretty sure it was going to go somehow with whether it was not here or round 2, but I wanted to come off swinging and get that pick out of the way. But I got to give Jay, yes, Gene Wilder and Blazing Saddles is amazing. But honestly, I personally have 2 other performances in mind that I think are better than Blazing Saddles, but he is fantastic in Blazing Saddles. No doubt about that. Chris Farley, Tommy Boy, I saw that when that came out in theaters. So, I mean, that definitely has a nostalgia pick with my heart. And Eddie Murphy, actually one of the first Eddie Murphy movies was Trading Places. When I was very young,
I wonder why.
see some of that Jamie Lee Curtis, if you know what I mean.
You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, that definitely great solid pick for round 1. overall from everybody.
There we go. And now we are back over to JPO for the 201. What is your first pick in round 2?
Yes, my first pick is somebody who I think absolutely inhabits almost every role he does. And we're still making shitty jokes to this day. My wife, I'm going with Sacha Baron Cohen, Borat.
Wow.
I just think this still holds up. I love the fact that he inhabits it, that he travels with it, when he was promoting it. And I think it's still hilarious when we actually go by performance standard. I think it's great.
It's nice.
Sacha Baron Cohen is the world's most famous clown. That's not a diss. He's literally trained. He literally trained in clownery.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to be awkward with the silence. I was like, how the fuck do I spell that shit?
SBC.
Not it now, but I was just saying at the time. Actually,
There's
I was
no
really,
H.
yeah. I actually was nervous that you were going to pick what I was going with, because I'm also going with something that we still joke about and meme about today, and that is Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder.
Fucking whore.
Damn it. Like, are you serious? The fact that he made it to me in round 2 shows me that you guys all went full. RDJ.
You never go full. Never go full.
I swear to God. RDJ in Tropic Thunder is just like, what are we talking about? Like, the fact that this man still has a career after this shows how great it is, and how funny this performance is. It's one of those things that's mad quotable. He steals the show. They literally had a role perfect for a black man, and they gave it to an Australian. Oh wait, no, he's an American white guy pretending to be all that. It's fantastic. Tropic Thunder is a banger, and RDJ is at the pinnacle of that.
He's been a bad boy, father.
All right, we are going to go back over to Jay.
I'm gonna grab it right now because I know that there's a fucking high possibility that it will not be available. I'm going Jeff Anderson in Clerks. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people might not find Clerks all that funny, but Jeff Anderson is the funniest character as Randall or Randy, depending on which movie you've seen. Is by far the funniest character in the movies. It's why Kevin Smith wanted to play him, because he has all the fucking quips. And then Jeff Anderson came through and just has like all of the perfect like witty one-liners and all of the comebacks here. And this might be like the one quote unquote dark horse choice that I make here, but I don't know if I would be able to actually survive another technically 2 rounds without Tato taking him. So yeah. Jeff Anderson, Clerks.
I totally respect that. Tato, speaking of that, you made a noise after mine. I didn't see your facial expression as I was updating the graphic on Jay's, but what is your next pick?
I do have one name written above Robert Downey Jr. And I'm going to say My Cousin Vinny gives us Joe Pesci at his finest, which makes it all the more crazy when Marissa Tomei steals the fucking show from him. Marissa Tomei, My Cousin Vinny.
That's a great pick. That's legit a great pick, dude.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it at all.
Yo, you see that onesie she's in?
I didn't see anything else.
that romper that she's in, like 30 years before rompers became a thing.
She knew what was up. Yeah, this obviously we all know that Tato is a My Cousin Vinny connoisseur. So I'm definitely not surprised, especially with that being at the top of his mind based on trivia reasons. As I just wrote my Vinny cousin.
My Vinny cousin.
All right.
Yo, you better wax on, wax off that answer, my boy.
You ain't wrong. Mesa, we're back over to you.
All right, so I mentioned Gene Wilder performances. Blazing Saddles is really good, but for me, the quintessential Gene Wilder performance, it's not what you think. It has to be, for me, Young Frankenstein. Gene
Frankenstein,
young, in Gene Wilder. I mean, this is Mel Brooks' best movie, in my opinion. I mean, it's pitch perfect. He's literally shot on the sets of James Whale's Frankenstein. The sets were still intact when he shot this fucking movie. And not only that, Gene Wilder is having a tremendous performance from the opening scene to the closing scene, delivering in spades. And not only that, he's like as good or even better than a cast of characters of Marty Feldman, Cloris Leachman, Madeline Kahn, Peter Boyle. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, freaking Kenneth Mars as the German police chief. I mean, so
the fact that Aerosmith created a song based on a quote from this movie.
Exactly. And that's why I have to definitely pick, because it is one of my favorite performances of all time. And I couldn't pass it up at this opportunity.
Well, there we go. All right. So after round two, JPO went Sacha Baron Cohen and Borat. Henry went Robert Downey Jr. and Tropic Thunder. Jay went Jeff Anderson and Clerks. Tato went Marissa Tomei and My Cousin Vinny. And Steve Mesa went Gene Wilder and Young Frankenstein. Mesa, before we go to your third round pick, what are your thoughts on the ones that went before you? Is there anything that you hoped you would have gotten, or was Gene Wilder your guy no matter what?
Sacha Baron Cohen was on my list for sure. But I knew it was going to be gone early. So, and I also didn't want to be not that JPO is that guy, but it's just I didn't want to be I didn't want to pick the typical performances where the quotations were made the man more than the performance, and vice versa. And that's how I see Sacha Baron Cohen's performances as Borat. He's just more like a walking meme, but that's nothing taken away from him. But it's just the type of philosophy I go into this with the round. Tato having Marissa Tomei it's a fine damn performance, and she's a fine damn performer.
And Bay.
Yeah, Bay. Robert Downey Jr. I mean, he's a bullet farm motherfucker. But he's just like it's he does steal the show, and it's a fucking joke within a joke. Within a fucking joke.
Within a joke.
Making fun of actors too fucking seriously. So I mean, he's criticizing and having fun while he's doing it. He's basically doing what he's making fun of himself for. And for sure, Jeff Anderson, fucking definitely, his performances, even through not only just 1, 2, and fucking 3. I mean, his performances have been like they've not plateaued whatsoever as those movies have gone on. And by the way, if I may say so, I think he delivers a hell of a performance. He's actually one of my favorite performances from last year in Clerks 3.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I agree with that statement. I know Tato does too. Tato won't say it because his internet is having problems, but
by the way, justice for the guys with small dicks. Tato, you are
it's a normal sized dick. The doctor said so.
And she's not allowed to lie. Doctor, patient, confidant, and jolly. Oh, wait, no, she's not allowed to say the truth, so she did say a lie. Tato, what are your thoughts on how round 2 went?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of all these picks. Like I said, Tropic Thunder RDJ would have definitely come out from me if it hadn't from you. Jeff Anderson, even though I'm obviously a huge Kevin Smith fan, I got so many performances I love that they're all kind of on the back burner for me. Interestingly enough,
thanks,
Jordan. I love you. I'm going to talk about your pick while you're gone. Borat is very nice as a pick. What you want me to say? It's right there for the reasons he says it's right there. And doop Wilder, Frankenstein, hilarious. So yeah, all great picks. I like this.
Hi, JPO.
There you go. Now, Jay, what are your thoughts on how round 2 went?
I don't hate round 2. I think round 2 went really well. Gene Wilder and Young Frankenstein was like, it was there for me, but it was a toss-up between Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein. And I think that less is more when it comes to him, because as much as he is the main character in Young Frankenstein, his performance is elevated in Blazing Saddles because he isn't the main character in the movie. He gets to provide that comedic timing and do everything it is that I necessarily need him to do. Sacha Baron Cohen is still on my list, and I'm probably not going to choose him just because Borat was chosen, but I think that there are 2 better performances that SBC gives than Borat. Robert Downey Jr. Yo, yeah, yes. Hey, yo, chill, man. It's the fuss. Marissa Tomei, that's Aunt Bay right there. You cannot go wrong with that. There's a reason why she won an Academy Award for that movie. Robert Downey Jr., like I said, Tropic Thunder is on my list. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I think there's one person out of that movie that I might still choose going into it, like going into the later rounds. Okay. But nobody made a bad decision this round. Like legit, nobody made a bad decision this round. Round 2 might be the round that decides it.
Facts.
Depending on what everybody else chooses in the next couple of rounds.
Yeah, and then for me, I have the dude, and I have a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. So I got a lot of dudes on my team so far. So I feel like
you're going for a theme.
Oh, next up, Kel Mitchell and Good Burger because he's a dude. You're a dude.
She's a dude. We're all dudes.
Hey, JPO.
Shut up.
Yeah.
JPO, what are your thoughts on how round 2 went before you dipped out on us for a millisecond, which is weird.
Yeah, sorry, I was closing out tabs and I closed out the wrong tab. I mean, Gene Wilder is good in Young Frankenstein. We all know he was best on Will and Grace. So, Marissa Tomei. Yeah, that's both her and Pesci are both great in that. Anderson, of course, I love Clerks. I would have necessarily thought of him to make my list, but he's really good. And yeah, RDJ was definitely something I probably knew I probably was going to get around to, this next round.
There you go. All right, let's kick off round 3. Mesa, you are back up.
All right, we talked about the thumbnail.
I haven't seen the thumbnail.
Yeah, we talked about the thumbnail, so I'm gonna get a pick from the thumbnail. And my pick is it's one of the first performances I saw when I was a child, and it's from one of my favorite movies when I saw when I was a child, and it's from Ghostbusters and Bill Murray. I have to go with Bill Murray for Ghostbusters. Peter Venkman, raining cats and dogs everywhere, mass hysteria, so much fucking things. I mean, he basically has a plethora of lines to pick from, and his delivery is just amazing. I just feel like, as a person who loved Ghostbusters, both the films and the animated shows that came forward, and even the video games, as someone who loves Ghostbusters, I think it would have been crime for not to pick Bill Murray.
I respect the pick, even if I don't love it. All right. Back over to Tato. What is your third overall selection going to be?
Yeah, I have a huge fuck shit stack of like the more classic 90s, 2000s ones that you would think of. So I'm not going to go to any of those. I'm going to go to one that's a little more personal to me. I'm going to take Alan Rickman in Galaxy Quest.
Yo, by Grabthar's Hammer, what a great choice.
Don't say it.
What a great
just the dry British fucking he's so fucking fed up with it, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, when I scrolled past Galaxy Quest, I was like, I don't know which one I would want to pick because of the dryness. That doesn't latch onto me in terms of like laughing, so I wouldn't have picked it. But great pick. Anything specific you want to mention about it, or are we good from you?
By Grabthar's Hammer, and then you also get like your great touching scene in the end there too, alongside all of the top
comedy isn't necessarily just comedy because it's a comedy movie. So yeah, I definitely respect that. All right, Jay, we're back over to you, my guy.
Well, fuck. Okay, so that throws out like 3 of my Alan Rickman picks because Die Hard was gonna be my next pick for Alan Rickman. I think I'm gonna go early 2000s for my next one. And I don't know what your guys's like drink order of choice is when you go to Starbucks, but mine is an orange mocha frappuccino. I'm going Ben Stiller. Jitterbug. I'm going Ben Stiller and Zoolander. I think that this is Ben Stiller having the most fun that he has ever had in a flat out comedy movie. You can say that he had a shitload of fun in all of the Night at the Museum movies. That's fine. I think those movies are more action than they are comedy. This is the movie where like Ben Stiller, outside of the movie that he directed, which has already been mentioned, and I didn't want to choose him in that, because nobody goes full I Am Sam. Zoolander is by far just like one of those movies that you can watch and turn your brain off, but isn't like a B movie, because this movie is full. This movie has a stacked cast. Like we're talking like it's got Mila Jovovich, it's got Ben Stiller, it's got Owen Wilson.
We're talking missionary.
We're talking that one where I'm on top and she's on the bottom. No, but like legit, when you think of Ben Stiller comedies, there are like two that top the list. And it's Tropic Thunder and it's Zoolander, and Zoolander came out first. Plus, it's got by far one of my favorite performances of David Bowie in any movie. Perhaps I can be of service. Like,
But
the movie's done so well. Plus, he just plays idiot so perfectly in this movie. Yeah, no, I have to go. I have to go Ben Stills in Zoolander.
I totally respect that. All right, back over to me. I have one technically that I would go higher, but I genuinely think I can either get it on the swing and maybe even round 5. So I'm going with the movie that my very first time I saw it, I liked it, but it wasn't a favorite, and it took a couple years back, and now I've watched it like 6 times in the last 2 years, especially during Thanksgiving. I'm going with John Candy in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. This is a performance that kind of what we touched on earlier with the Alan Rickman thing. It's not just about the jokes. It's just about the performance as a whole in a pure comedy. John Candy crushes it. I watched a lot of reactions on YouTube, and every time I watch a Planes, Trains, and Automobiles reaction, all the reactors always like, I don't know what I need to see from John Candy except for everything, just because of just what he brings. And I love that about it, because this movie is just a lot of fun. His dynamic between him and Steve Martin obviously just works so well together, and just his capability of holding a scene by himself, but also, playing off other people, and, just the lightheartedness of it, and just the optimism, and it just, the endearing, personality that he brings to this role is just fantastic. So yeah, I love this movie. It shot up in my top 100. Take a shot. In the last couple months, and it's one of those things that specifically because of John Candy's performance. It took me a while to say all that and write Planes, Trains, and Automobiles for the thing. So yeah, there's that. Going over to JPO, what is your final pick of round 3? Well, your only pick of round 3, but everyone's final pick of round 3.
Yes, a man that bears it all, his soul, his heart, and his penis. I'm going for Jason Segel and Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
You son of a bitch.
No, you son of a bitch. Yeah, I just think one of the greatest, rom-coms. It's whoa. Oh, I forgot he's on the way. I was like, shit. One of the greatest rom-coms, R-rated, but there's still a lot of heart here. Even a movie that has penises, but it has vampire Muppet musicals. I think you're so much in love with this guy here. The relation between him and Mila Kunis and Kunis, all the cameos around it too, but I still think the leading man is the best part about it, Jason Segel.
Absolutely. I definitely don't hate that at all. All right. What is your overall thought on the rest of everyone's picks?
John Candy, and a great one here. I thought about a couple different Candys, or even Steve Martin in that movie here. They're both fantastic here. Zoolander I've warmed up to even more over the years. I think it's a very good kind of rewatch. Still even reprising it literally to this day, just doing it at the Super Bowl. So obviously people do have love for this character here. Definitely no argument for Alan Rickman, Galaxy Quest. He was fantastic, and that's kind of the only reason I don't want to see a follow-up now, because I don't want to see one without him. And yeah, that might not have been my number 1 Bill Murray pick, actually, but can't deny that he's great in Ghostbusters, so it's a good one as well.
All right, and then for me, Ben Stiller and Zoolander, that's just a movie I still just haven't seen. I haven't rushed out to see it, so it's one of those things that I'm not anti-seeing it, but I just haven't seen it yet. Alan Rickman and Galaxy Quest, like as I kind of mentioned earlier, that is a performance that is very dry, but like purposefully, and a lot of the jokes come from that. But that's just not my comedy, so that's why I wouldn't have gone with that. But I do love that movie, and that's coming from a guy who's definitely not a star or Trekkie. And then what did Mesa just? Mesa went with Bill Murray and Ghostbusters. One of the most overrated movies of all time. I'm not a Bill Murray guy. There's another movie from Bill Murray that I dislike. I like Ghostbusters, but I say it's overrated. Watch out for an upcoming draft that might come up. But yeah, I don't hate anyone that I don't judge anyone for liking this movie, but it's just never clicked for me. Like I said, I like it, but I don't love it. It's not a diehard thing. And Bill Murray,
sure. I totally understand.
Kind of what I was talking about with the Alan Rickman thing. Just Bill Murray's humor is the dry humor. You know what I mean? So it just doesn't, it's just not my bag. So yeah, it just never really clicked for me. Jay, what is your thoughts on how round 3 went?
Ooh, Jason Segel and Forgetting Sarah Marshall is low-key fire for a third-round pick. I'm not going to lie. John Candy and Plane, Trains, and Automobiles is just one of those things, like holiday movies, especially movies that revolve around like Thanksgiving, are not my thing. I think that you could have chosen a better John Candy movie. Alan Rickman in Galaxy Quest by Grabthar's Hammer, bro. Like, you cannot avenge anybody better. Like, that's such a good pick, and that's such a fire steal in the third round. And Mesa chose Bill Murray from Ghostbusters because he looked at the thumbnail before anybody else did and was like, hey, if it's still available in round 3, I'll take it in round 3. I mean, it's fine. Don't get me wrong, Henry. I'm kind of in the same boat that you are when it comes to Bill Murray. I think Bill Murray is kind of an overrated comedy actor.
Ironically, I really like him in Zombieland because he dies, and
I like him in Zombieland, and I'm not gonna lie, everybody might hate me for this. I love him in Osmosis Jones.
I need to rewatch it, but I remember.
I love him in Osmosis Jones, and this isn't an attack on you. This is just my personal views when it comes to like Bill fucking Murray.
I really like. Honestly, I like Osmosis Jones. I like it. I think it's underrated Farrelly Brothers movie. So that's my opinion for sure.
It's rated just right.
No, yeah, like it's definitely overrated to some. This guy down here, don't vote for him just for that.
No,
statement.
It's rated. Y'all are overrating it. It's rated by normally.
Ebola wishes it was me. Go fuck yourself, JPO. I'm choosing Borat in the second round. Oh,
Jay just literally grabbed a line out of his ass from Osmosis Jones. So yes, it is overrated by him specifically because he's the only one who actually can quote that movie.
I can quote that movie. I love that movie, bro.
You watched the spin-off cartoon? I tried.
I
did.
That's what happens when you watch a show about those.
This is what happens when you watch the Men in Black animated series too.
Tato, what are your thoughts on how round 3 went?
Seagull, solid pick. Zoolander, one I love that I might have tried to snake in round 5 because I didn't think anyone else would kind of pick it.
See, me and Tato got same thoughts.
Simpatico. Not the Bill Murray movie I would have chosen, not the Planes, Trains performance I would have chosen.
Facts.
That's fair enough. All right, and Mesa, you started off the round. How did it go after you?
It went as expected. I was really trying to figure out whether to pick Bill Murray or not. It seemed like a typical pick, but I am a fan of his performance, and like literally this was one of the childhood movies I saw growing up, and his performance stuck out the most. And you'll probably see a trend coming as we continue with this poll with my picks. But Rickman, it's a damn fine choice. Stiller is fucking fantastic as Zoolander, and John. I'm a recent new watcher to Plane, Trains, and Automobiles, so I haven't watched it as much as most of you guys watched it. I'm a big fan of John Candy. I would have picked a different John Candy performance. I'm a big fan of Uncle Bucks, but he's not on my list. But I'm a big fan of what he did.
I just watched that for the first time. There's that. And by the way, JPO, sorry, I didn't mean to screw you over. Now you are officially now on the bottom banner. I did write your pick down there. But with that said,
like every other round, bro.
well, I know I'm updating it on this. This is actually more important. But you know, the bottom one, the ticker is pretty cool too. But with that said, we are jumping over to round 4. JPO, you are on the clock.
I love movies. I love movies that are about movies, and I think this man is fantastic. Before he kind of went a little over the top later on, I'm going to go with Johnny Depp and Ed Wood is what I'm going to go with.
Okay.
I just think he kind of does the perfect balance of quirkiness without ever losing the audience too. Like it's never to the point where you're kind of annoyed by him. You're still kind of charmed by him, even though he's a little batshit crazy, but in a really fun way here. And I think it's one of the better Tim Burton movies. I think in general here, he also walks the line of not going so far to where he loses anyone. And yeah, I think Depp's great in this.
Interesting. It's it kind of falls into the line of what we talked about earlier with the Leonardo DiCaprio. It's it's biopics are its own thing, so you have to have a subgenre under it. It's more comedy than drama, so I definitely no quorums from me. Not one I would have picked, but I definitely don't judge you for going with that. All right, so now we are going on brand back over to me as I feel a sneeze to come there.
Bless you.
Bless you.
As I tried to warn the sneeze. More came. So I knew JPO wasn't going to take it. So I'm going Chris Tucker in Friday. This is just a performance that, when I think of, what I quote on a daily basis, damn near, it is stuff from Friday in general, but specifically Chris Tucker. 99% of the times it's, you got to knock the fuck out.
Come on, man.
You didn't put in, man. Just everything that, I love this. It's one of those things.
Don't let me fuck.
It's one of those things that as time's gone by, that it's become a meme. Just the Chris Tucker in general, whether it's this Fifth Element, Rush Hour, multiple times. It's just one of those things where people think of him as a walking meme. But when you go back on Friday, the first one, you realize what's missing on the subsequent 2 is Chris Tucker's performance. Mike Epps does a solid job in him, but it just doesn't hold water to it. And Ice Cube, similar to what I've been talking about earlier, is that he has more of that dry humor in the early stages of, as Craig, he gets a little more rambunctious in later movies that maybe would come up. I don't know. But in the first one, the pure comedy, in terms of just the sidekick is Chris Tucker in Friday. So yeah, hands down, easy pick for me. I'm glad I was able to get in the 4th round because on paper, this is a first round pick. So shout out to me. Okay, you are back up.
So this is comedy performances, and I think a lot of us have chosen a lot of people who happen to partake in a lot of the screen time. My 4th round pick is not going to be somebody who has a lot of screen time in the movie, but I think gives the best comedy performance in the movie. And I will lead off with a quote. Although he does most of the eating in the sack and of the sack, I'm going with Justin Long as Brandon St. Randy in Zack and Miri Make a Porno. This is by far, exactly. See, Henry's already chuckling here.
I love Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
This dude's only in the movie for like a good 10 minutes out of like a good 100-minute movie, 110-minute movie, and he steals the fucking show. Like
more like he eats my long cock or like whatever.
More like Glenn and Gary shove their meaty cocks in Ross's open mouth. But like it like not even being like openly ultra vulgar like that. I think that as a straight dude playing a gay porn star in a movie, there's nobody who has done it better, and I don't think there's anybody who could do it better. Justin Long just embodies the character, and everybody makes that voice nowadays. Instead of the very effeminate one, but everybody makes that voice nowadays. And yeah, no, Justin Long is Brandon St. Randy in Zack and Miri Make a Porno, and there's a reason why Kevin Smith backdoored him, giggity, into Jay and Silent Bob reboot as Dick Wolfer on Grindr. This is legit by far one of my favorite performances of Justin Long, And there's a long list of Justin Long performances. He's just an underrated comedic actor, but he provides all of the comedy that I need in the first act of that movie, and it keeps me chuckling throughout everything else that happens in the film.
As I said a second ago, it's one of those things that's like I am 100% understanding of it because I actually love this movie. But yeah, it's always going to come up in the conversation. I'm like, maybe could have got it later, but I definitely don't hate just the concept of it.
I mean, it's a 4th round pick. I don't think it's bad.
No, yeah. Once again, I'm not judging it. It's once again.
No. I know you're not. I know you're not.
Later. Back over to Tato. Tato, what is your next one, my guy?
Yeah, I'm liking this whole thing of like more out there picks, less cliche stereotypical ones. I'm gonna keep that going a bit, even though we've seen this. Henry, could you tell me to shut up real quick?
No.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Give me Jack Black in School of Rock.
Oh, you whore. It's a good pick. It's a good pick.
I
thought that he could survive until round 5.
Ironically, that's my 4th on my list, but one of the later ones, I'm like, maybe it's definitely up around 5 because it's either going to go round 1 or it's not going to go at all.
Exactly.
All right, Tato over here sniping my childhood. I respect it. I respect it. Tato went Jack Robert Downey Jr. from Tropic Thunder. All right. Giggity.
You can't make that joke. It's February still.
Yes, we're aware. I can't wait until it's not so you can stop saying that. Fuck.
Not a thinker, not a stinker.
The only black person I have at all by clip. Oh no, wait.
English motherfucker, do you speak it?
For the cause. Mesa, you
For
are
the cause.
Mesa, you are up, my guy.
So I'm gonna make a out there pick. This man is not usually known for his comedy performances, as far as I know of. So I'm going to pick Chris Evans for Knives Out as Ransom Drysdale. I think he was really. I mean, he doesn't give up a typical comedy performance where he's throwing all those pratfalls and everything and all that dry, but like there's layer in that performance. There's layers because like he's like you think he's like, oh, you know, this guy's a fucking dick, so he must be like the primary suspect. But then there's certain things in the plot that happens as the story progresses that makes you think otherwise. But spoiler alert, it is.
Wait. Sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say, wait, spoiler alert. People thought that he wasn't the bad guy in this movie.
You'd be surprised from the people that was watching.
God damn it, Mesa, you fucking anchor, baby.
And also, I mean, eat shit. You can eat shit. You can eat shit, and
You're cool.
You're cool.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on your toes there, Mesa.
That's all right. Chris Evans from Knives Out.
All right, definitely interesting POV. I know it's comedy, but I just wasn't sure if it qualified, so I just wanted to be fair to everyone, and it does. So great pick.
I was like, I just looked it up because I was like, "Ooh, can I challenge this?" Because I wanted it on mine and was worried that it wouldn't be comedy first. No, on IMDb, it is comedy first.
Literally first. You're not first, you're last. Oh wait. Mesa, what are your thoughts on how round 4 went?
Again, as these rounds are going through, as we're going through these rounds, I think we're digging deeper into our picks. I think our picks are just getting better, in my opinion. Jack Black was definitely on one of my lists for sure. I knew that was going to be gone by the time I was going to get to it. Chris, I'm not mad at Chris Tucker Friday. I mean, for sure, like, damn. I mean, that's basically anytime somebody just throws a left or right in fucking social media, I just put that shit up. Justin Long in that just fucking one scene is. I mean, I was seeing just that scene the other day, and he's perfect. It's fantastic.
It's comedy gold. It's comedy gold.
Definitely comedy gold for sure. And Johnny Depp as Ed Wood is a very great. It's a very outstanding pick. I had Johnny Depp in my bottom 10 for a different performance, but definitely it's a solid pick overall from everybody here in round 4.
There you go. Tato, what are your thoughts on how round 4 went?
I still haven't seen Knives Out. Fucking thanks, Jay. Brandon St. Randy is hilarious, though.
How's you not watching a movie my fault? You still haven't seen
Because-
Warcraft, and that one is my fault.
Good
There's a
job, Dick.
difference.
You're tacky and I hate you.
No, fuck you. You're not the factoter.
Fact, whatever.
You just got to demerit.
Tucker is great in Friday. Also, I think you have that as one of the things now. Damn.
No.
No, not anymore. Okay. And then Depp in Ed Wood is.
Hey,
See, I told you had more of them.
I didn't have the brightness all up on my laptop. I didn't.
Hey, there we go. So yeah, another.
Can't make
solid
that
round.
joke, Henry. It's Black History Month.
God damn.
The Confidential Crew podcast, where we're just gonna say some random shit for hours. Is coming back. Jay, what are your thoughts on round 4, my guy?
Holy shit. Jack Black in School of Rock as
School of Cops.
yes, this is Ed Schneebly. I think is by far one of the
Yes,
low key. Like I thought I could have. I legit didn't take that in round 4 because I thought that I could steal it in round 5. Ed Wood is still one of those movies that I've missed out on.
Literally
Chris-
4th on my list, so I'm saying
Chris Tucker is never a bad fucking pick. And honestly, not the Chris Evans performance that I thought was gonna go in the comedic performances draft. Like, I thought that it would have been a Chris Evans cameo more than it would have been this one. But it is what it is. So I won't say what the shit just yet. Wait, fuck, I just did. God damn it.
I literally was gonna say, what the shit?
But no, like I don't think like I mimic everything it is that Steve said. I think that our picks are just getting better. And like it sucks that this is gonna be like a 5-round thing because I'm pretty sure that we could push this bitch to like 10 or 15 rounds.
Comment below, join the Patreon for the next 5 picks. No, I was kidding.
But no, like nobody made a bad choice this round, honestly.
we might continue. Don't worry. My name's Henry Confidential, and Jack Black is one of my favorite performances of all time. I just hoped I could have gotten it a little later. Everyone knows School of Rock is in my top 10. This was my favorite movie as a kid, and it still holds up as an adult, even though I've never grown up. So I love that. Justin Long and Zack and Miri Make a Porno. I actually love that movie. It's one of those things. And then he shows back up in a reboot. So it's just one of those things that
Dick Wolfer on Grindr.
Facts. Trust me, we matched. It's one of those things where he's just so great in that. Chris Evans and Knives Out, great pick. Once again, not one that I would have picked in terms of just, for me personally, but no qualms on that. And then Johnny Depp and Ed Wood. Glad we dealt with Jordan Belfort, Leonardo DiCaprio, Wolf of Wall Street in round 1, so no arguments in round 4. JPO, you start off the round. What are your thoughts on how it went after you?
Yeah, so I think pretty good overall. Chris Evans, I like Knives Out, both 1 and 2 are filled with some great performances here. Maybe not one I would have thought of, but he's really fun in it. Jack Black, absolutely a great choice. Definitely one I wish I would have gone to. That's a good one. Justin Long, yeah, again, maybe just because of the length, I didn't really necessarily think about it. If this was like comedic cameos, that's a round 1er. So yeah, that's a good pick. Chris Tucker is good. I think he's very Chris Tucker in everything I've seen him in, so he's not one that comes to my mind. But yeah, people love Friday and love him. And yeah, good round overall.
There you go. Mesa, what is your final pick of the poll? And then maybe we'll continue, but what is your final pick of the poll?
I'm gonna go into the horror genre for this one. And I'm gonna pick Bruce Campbell for Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. This guy literally is like literally almost killing himself head over feet just to make pratfalls, flipping himself over, just killing himself, getting fucking blood all over him. This guy's going through fucking hell. And this was one of the performances I had to go back because I saw him. I think other people would have probably picked his performance as Army of Darkness, but I think he had a lot to deal with in Evil Dead 2. With just the sheer amount of punishment that Sam Raimi put him through with all the stuff that's going, especially even in the first one. But like Evil Dead 2 is one of my favorite comedies of all time. One of my favorite horror movies of all time, along with Scream and anything you can think of. And I think it would have been a shame if we didn't mention Bruce Campbell in Evil Dead 2.
Definitely interesting. I will give my opinions on that later. Tato, what is your final pick of the night for you, or for the poll?
Yeah. At this point, I am going to head back into the mainstream classic generic comedies, as it were, because it would be disingenuous for me to not take Adam Sandler as Happy Gilmore. I think it's Sandler's best. I think it's like peak Sandler. It's fucking hilarious, every bit of it.
It's one of those ones where shocked it's the first time it's come up. And I think we've all gone with our guts and our personal opinions, and I don't feel like we're trying to be contrarians or we're trying to be unique and different and, show love to all these unknown actors and comedies. I just genuinely think that, we love these performances. So it's a great sleeper round 5 pick. No hate there. Jay, what is your final one?
I have so many left on the board. And it I don't know, it's kind of breaking my brain on what to go with. So I'm going to go with a British cat that I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't necessarily think is
James Corden and Cats. Wow.
Who don't think is all that funny, and James Corden Cats is the most hilarious thing you can ever see, but it's not because of his acting, it's because he's just a giant pussy. So thanks for fucking narrowing it down, JPO. No, I'm actually gonna go with Jason Statham in Spy.
Okay.
Jason Statham in Spy gives you gems like, you really think you're ready for the field? I once used defibrillators on myself. I put shards of glass in my fucking eye. I've jumped from a high-rise building using only a raincoat as a parachute and broke both legs upon landing. Still, I had to pretend I was a fucking I was still in a Cirque du Soleil show. I swallowed enough microchips and shit them back out again to make a computer. This arm has been ripped off completely and reattached with this fucking arm. There are so many moments within this movie that Jason Statham, as like everybody wanted him to be 007 there for a little bit, but he's made just such comedy out of it where he can take the absolutely absurd, say it with a little bit of a British accent and some gravitas, and it becomes fucking funny. And the fact that like he went through in a list during this movie and said essentially everything he did in is it Click? No, it's not Click. It's
Snatch.
No, High Voltage.
Crank.
There we go. Crank, not Click. And everybody was like, "Oh yeah, no, I can fucking see it." Jason Statham in fucking Spy.
All right, definitely a round 5. Not a terrible pick. As soon as you said it, I was like, yeah, hilarious, but definitely not one that would have been on my list. So I respect it. All right, we are going back over to me, and this is, I knew I can get it in round 5 because it's just not something any of you guys think about, and it's not something that people think about when they just think of comedies, just because of how quirky and weird it is. But Ralph Fiennes in the Grand Budapest Hotel, he's just a banger of a performance. Like everything that just comes out of his mouth is just gold. He just fucking just spits bars of just like, how did you say that? Why did you say that? Like,
well, at least he's not a Nazi.
Go to bed with all my friends. Like, oh my god. I love this performance. I love this movie. Ralph Fiennes, Voldemort himself, was a fantastic.
You're not supposed to say that.
Sorry, especially not during Harry Potter month. It's May the 4th. This is a great time. I love it. What's the difference? That is going to be my final pick of the first poll, the only poll
Well, if you look at it, wizards were also heavily persecuted.
Wizards are also madly anti-Semitic, but we don't get into that because nobody wants to look into it.
Speaking of all that, Akio, your final pick.
I am a self-professed mama's boy, so I'm gonna go with everyone's favorite mama, who says foosball's bad. Kathy Bates in Waterboy. I thought about going with Sandler and multiple things. Sandler, Billy Madison. We got Happy Gilmore, but you know what, man? I was like, no, you know what? Kathy Bates kind of steals that show, man. Oscar winner. We all know her from other things, but she can be hilarious too, and she's just the best here as Mama.
Yeah, Liz Claiborne.
Exactly.
Take a look over there. Them's the sheets.
They ain't Mountain Dew.
What part of the kid? I'd say his knee.
I'd say that's his knee.
Well,
Can I change my answer? I want to change my answer.
No, Colonel Sanders, you cannot change.
God damn it.
All right, that is that. So what we are going to do is talk about round 5. JPO, what are your thoughts on how round 5 went?
No, everyone's got some good stuff here. Bruce Campbell, I love Bruce Campbell here. I even read part of his book, so he's great here. Evil Dead 2, kind of like a reboot to go more comedic, so that's a good pick. As I said, much love for Adam Sandler here. I maybe lean towards Billy Madison, but on any given day, I could switch to Happy Gilmore. Jason Statham, again, kind of like stole the show from Melissa McCarthy in that movie here. He does have maybe the best lines in that movie here. And no, Fiennes is a good pick as well here. That's definitely one that kind of did cross my mind, because it's a really good script in general, and again, line-wise, he has maybe the best stuff in it.
Absolutely. And then for me, so yeah, my thoughts on Evil Dead 2. I don't like the movie. I love the Evil Dead. I really like Army of Darkness, and I think the Evil Dead remake is good, and I'm gonna rewatch it before the next whatever it's considered, requel, prequel, whatever, cool. But Evil Dead 2 has just never worked for me because I don't think it commits to the comedy enough. Like the slapstick stuff just doesn't work for me as a comedy thing. So I don't think that like there's jokes or any like character stuff that like works for me from a comedic basis. And I don't find it horrific at all. Like it's gory and like disgusting, but like I don't find it horrific. So it's just always one of those ones that bum me out. Like there are plenty of movies that I'm like, please, if you guys can hit it in my brain of what I'm doing wrong, then I will 100%. Like I'm not just anti this movie; it just doesn't click for me. It just never has, and it just bums me out because I love Bruce Campbell. I watched Burn Notice growing up. I love Bruce Campbell as a person before I even knew anything about the Evil Dead franchise, and now I love the Evil Dead and Army of Darkness. So it's one of those things that just and the Spider-Man trilogy. So it just bums me out that it just didn't click for me. And then we have actual Adam Sandler, Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore is one of those movies that for me it's like either outside my top 10 or at the bottom of my top 10 Adam Sandler movies, just because it's just one of those ones where it's like I don't know why. I have nothing negative to say about it. Just there are other ones I've clicked with. Maybe it's nostalgia or whatever. Just Happy Gilmore is one of those ones where it just I don't, other than like the Price is Right thing and the one scene with Chubbs when he falls out the window, yikes, that it's just like I don't really laugh. You know what I mean? So it just does. It's more of I just like the movie. And then yeah, I keep wanting to upgrade the thing. Kathy Bates in The Waterboy. Oh, hilarious. And then I said yeah, there's definitely very memorable.
Wrong, bitch.
Exactly, very memorable. And then yeah, so that's my take on that. Jay, what are your thoughts on how round 5 went?
I think the sleeper pick of this entire draft legit is Kathy Bates and The Waterboy. JPO came through and just shot all of us in the fucking neck with that choice. Ralph Fiennes in the Grand Budapest Hotel isn't bad. I haven't seen the entirety of the movie, but I have seen like 80% of what it is. Bring that back up because I don't remember everybody else. Thank you. Ralph Fiennes, I have seen all of his scenes from this movie. Him and Tony Ravioli make like a really good pair in this. Adam Sandler and Happy Gilmore, I think it's like his third best movie in the 90s, but I think it's the one that like everybody remembers more than anything else because it was the only thing played on TBS there for like 3.5 years. And Bruce Campbell in the Evil Dead Part 2, I don't think that's Bruce Campbell's best comedy performance. I honestly do think that it might be Army of Darkness, but there's a sleeper pick there too, because he is low-key funny in that movie. As much as that movie isn't funny, he brings nothing but comedy into the movie.
There you go. Tato, what are your thoughts on how round 5 rounded out?
I have not seen Evil Dead 2 or Spy. Cannot speak to those. Kathy Bates and The Waterboy, I think, is the correct pick from that movie. And yeah, really solid one. And then Grand Budapest Hotel, I did see. I watched it, hoping to catch some Hawkeye Black Widow action in the background. None of that. I was a little pissed. But
Wrong movie, wrong country.
Budapest? What?
Yeah.
Correct country. Anyway, but yeah, no, he was pretty funny in that. So good shit.
There you go. And then last but not least, Mesa, what are your thoughts on how round 5 wrapped up?
Round 5 went very well. Definitely have to agree with Jay's assessment that JPO killed us in this round with Kathy Bates, because she definitely, if it wasn't Sandler's performance, it definitely was Kathy Bates for everyone just to live up to. For Spy, I only saw it one time in the theater, and yes, Jason Statham was probably the best part about that movie. But like aside from that, I never really saw it again. Never had the chance to go stop. Oh, my Spy's on TV. I'm gonna stop. No, it was just not one of those movies that I would have thought, or performances that I would have thought putting on the list. Ray Fiennes, Grand Budapest Hotel, and you fucking line a minute with this guy, basically just getting all the great parts. Adam Sandler, Happy Gilmore is a solid choice. I personally would have gone with Wedding Singer. I think that's his best performance, best comedic performance. But like, I definitely respect the choice of having Happy Gilmore. And you can't go wrong with The Price is Wrong, bitch.
Price is wrong, bitch.
Well, what'd you say? Which movie would you have gone with for Sandler? You said
Wedding Singer.
I wish you would have told me that yesterday.
Yesterday.
Hey, Linda, you're a bitch.
Now take off the shirt before you jinx the band.
And they break up too. All right, so we'll do a quick. It's all or nothing. Are we continuing 5 more, or are we ending?
I've got to dip out.
All right, Macy called it. We are going to officially end it if we want to continue without him. But yeah, for the poll, that is going to be it. So here's a quick wrap up. Mesa, Leonardo DiCaprio in The Wolf of Wall Street, Gene Wilder, Young Frankenstein, Bill Murray, Ghostbusters, Chris Evans, Knives Out, and Bruce Campbell, Evil Dead 2. Jake Tato, Chris Farley, Tommy Boy, Marissa Tomei, My Cousin Vinny, Alan Rickman, Galaxy Quest, Jack Black, School of Rock, and Adam Sandler in Happy Gilmore. Jay, Gene Wilder in Blazing Saddles, Jeff Anderson in Clerks, Ben Stiller in Zoolander, Justin Long in Grindr, Make a Porno, Zach and Mary Make a Porno, Jason Statham in Spy, Henry, Jeff Bridges in The Big Lebowski, Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder, John Candy in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Chris Tucker in Friday, and Ray Fiennes in The Grand Budapest Hotel. And JPO, last but not least, Eddie Murphy, Trading Places, Sacha Baron Cohen, Borat, Jason Segel with The Penis, The Fluffer, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Johnny Depp and Ed Wood, speaking of Wood, and Kathy Bates, last minute, showed up halftime at the Bourbon Bowl, The Waterboy. All right, quick round table, Mesa. Mesa Media is your plug, but what were your thoughts on overall on how this draft went?
The draft went for me. It went where I wanted to go. There was a couple of times where I wanted to switch names. I have, I know you guys might continue, but I might as well just say what my picks were, what my alternates were. I had Christopher Lloyd in Back to the Future, Tim Curry in Clue the movie. I also had this fucking guy. Peter Sellers in Revenge of the Pink Panther. George C. Scott in Doctor Strangelove. Those would have been good ones that I would have liked taken. Even Chevy Chase from Christmas Vacation. That's one of my personal favorite movies that I saw as a child. But yeah, so with that being said, those would have been my honorable mentions. Check out all my shit at Mesa Media One. I am sponsoring a wrestler in Pittsburgh. He is the Wrestlers Lab champion, defending against Ziggy Heim, Eel O'Neill. That's happening March 5th, Friday. So check it out. Stream's going to be live via YouTube. So, yeah.
I thought he was gonna say Nico Suave Regole, to tell you the truth.
No, he retired
Dragonheart.
already. He retired already.
Did he really? I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
From the top rope, Tato.
Hey.
Also, it's Ziggy Haim. Just want to throw that out there.
Get dunked on.
Facts. Tato, what are your thoughts on how this draft went?
Yeah, this one was a blast. I think like I actually made timely picks. That was strange. So other than that, no, I had a blast with this. Good times were had by all, I hope.
There you go. Jay, what are your thoughts on how tonight went?
Honestly, I still have like 17 picks to go. But this was so much fun. I can't wait to see what everybody thinks. I didn't play this for the poll, regardless of what the show is actually called, and how a lot of people actually do drafts. But I don't think anybody else did, and I think that everybody else made incredibly great picks. And I think the thing that's gonna fuck all of us over is Kathy Bates in round 5.
Maybe.
Yep.
I don't know about that. And yes, in fact, in spite of the name of For the Poll, name based solely for the memes. JPO, what are your thoughts on how tonight went?
No, good times. Good picks by everybody here. Good times. This was a good one, I thought. Some quick alternatives just to show that there's still a lot left on the table. Bill Murray, why I would have gone hard. Man. What?
We're going to continue behind the scenes. We're just unofficially.
He did his. I wanted to do mine, but fine.
We all knew based on
Because
his
he's leaving.
Based on his actual roster, we weren't worried about any
All right,
that he was
Steve,
going to take.
send me that list. Send me that list. Yeah, man.
All right, so there you go. All right, make sure you check out everything JPO does over on the Pierce Co. A show about
Check out
trivia.
ASAP.
He still got a tournament going that I just got my ass kicked in, so don't support that. Fuck that shit. No, I'm just kidding. Make sure you show
Second thought.
All right, so with that said, shout out to you guys on the replay. This was a great time. This is how you do a draft in less than 3 hours. My name is Henry Confidential. One more time, that is that. If you want to watch again, pause. This is For the Poll, the comedy performance draft.
Yeah, no homo. Pause.
Latest, Gators.